Yeah.
Can everybody see those?
Yeah. Okay, the first motion is to extend the due date for property tax bills to June 1st, 2020.
So moved.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I have a question.
Philip?
Yes, I know that that's what the governor has proposed, but here's my question. A lot of people are out of work, and they're going to be out of work for quite a while. Some of the stimulus checks are not going to arrive till August. I don't see that this helps anybody very much. Jeff, I'm going to ask you, is there anything that can be done? If people are out of work, they have no stimulus package, their unemployment hasn't started yet, even June 1st is going to be a burden.
I certainly understand. Unfortunately, for now, those dates are set by the state rather than local government. So they've provided a 1-month relief, and that's the only tool we have right now legally.
So what happens to a resident if they can't make the payment on June 1st? What happens?
Well, I think if you look down at motion number 3, it provides that if you don't make your payment by June 1, there's really no penalty till after June 30th.
Yeah, that's not much either.
I know, but that's, I certainly
But,
understand.
Priscilla, to that point though, most people have mortgages, and with most mortgages, they have the escrow account for their taxes. So it doesn't on the surface appear to be as many people as offhand you think. And I know most people have been planning for the tax bills. I'm sure there'll be a few hardship cases, but we'll have to deal with them one-on-one when it happens.
I hear what you're saying. Oh. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Priscilla.
I hear what you're saying, but nobody planned for this virus and to be out of work for 6 months or so. And I'm also thinking of the businesses as well. Some of them have closed. Some of them may not come back because this could be that devastating to them. And I just don't know what, as a community, we can do not only for residents, but for the commercial end as well.
Well, I guess we can only do, as far as the property tax bills, what the state allows us to do right now. Things may change. Who knows? The governor may come up with another bill. But as it stands right now, it is an extension of a month.
We can keep an eye on it to
Is there
see.
anything else in the pipeline?
No, I think this was
Mary,
the
may I-
product that they approved so far. I don't know if they're going to talk about extending it further, but they did allow for a June 30th payment without penalty, which is the motion number 3.
Can I just add to something Priscilla said?
Okay, Mary.
I do agree with Priscilla, but I also understand that it's determined by the state. Unfortunately, because I also don't think a month is enough time. Federal and state taxes were put off by 3 months, which was a lot more helpful. But I do want to say that we do have discretion in the event that somebody is unable to pay. Because I do know over the years, before we have taken any action, Barbara Berry has explained that she's tried to set up payment plans with different people who are unable to pay their taxes on time. So I'm hoping that if there are some residents, and there may be several, that can't pay their taxes, that we will have discretion, I believe, at our end before we take any action on the property. And I would hope that we would exercise a lot of flexibility if it came to that.
And also for the businesses as well, because some of the small businesses are not going to be able to recover in a long time, if at all.
Right. So for now, we've got a month. But I also want to I have one question. The tax bills already went out, and extending it a month is great, but how are we going to get word out to everybody that there is an extension? Because this particular meeting, it's very staticky. Are we going to go to the papers? Are we going to have a mailing? I wish that this had happened when we sent out our tax bills so we could have something in there that says they've been extended by a month. Because right now, I'm very concerned with how we're going to communicate this to our residents so that they're informed that it's extended by a month.
I agree.
What is going to be our approach? It's not going to be enough that we just put it on our website, on our town website. We need to do it in a more comprehensive way.
Madam Chair?
Can I? Yeah.
Mike?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this is FY 2020 taxes that would normally be due on April 1st, and it's being extended to June, 2 months, to June 1st.
They're due May 1st,
So-
not April 1st.
It's May 1st.
May 1st. Well, it says here they're due April 1st.
They went out April 1st.
Yeah. The April 1st bills, but okay, they're extended for 1 month, but there's also under item number 3 is to waive interest and other penalties. We may have, I don't know the legality of it, but we may have to have the due date within the current fiscal year, and
No.
I'm not sure. And so we need more. I think we need more information. I think for the time being, we could extend it to June 1st and that request more information. That gives us a month and a half to decide what else to do.
I agree.
Madam Chair?
Is that okay?
Madam
Priscilla?
Chair? Yeah,
Yes.
I'm looking at an email that was from KP Law that talks about allowing municipalities to extend deadlines and waive penalties or late fees for taxes and similar charges with no due date. This is from the governor, I believe, today, and it doesn't say a due date. It just says allow municipalities to extend them, but it doesn't say until a certain date, which is a little bit different than this.
Hey, Jeff?
Well, this is the law that the state passed and the governor signed either Thursday or Friday. This is the guidance that the Department of Local Services with the Commonwealth has provided local government. Under that guidance, they're requiring communities to mail a letter to all the taxpayers. Now, the finance...
Okay, that answers my question.
The finance people in the state are very concerned because a lot of their staff aren't available to mail such a high volume of letters. So we understand that there needs to be a very intense effort to educate everybody. If it has to be the letter, it has to be the letter from, as DLS is required, but I agree it has to be more than just putting it on the website. I agree we have to do some education. I don't know what Selectwoman Jemas is reading. I've not heard of another extension of any of this other than what the bill that was passed.
This is from KP Law. This is from KP Law, and it says municipal. I believe it's something like Governor Baker signs municipal relief legislation dated Saturday of the acts of 2020. And in that it states, I'm reading it verbatim, allowing municipalities to extend tax deadlines and waive penalties and interest for late payment of taxes or other similar charges. It doesn't issue a date in that.
I understand, but this is, what you're reading here this evening is directly from the legislation that was passed.
Well, why doesn't it have a date then?
Priscilla, I think KP Law was just highlighting the law with bullets, and they didn't go, I agree with you, it's confusing. They didn't provide the date, but all they're trying to do is summarize the law that Jeff is citing.
And Priscilla,
Includes, but those are,
it
that's
may-
these laws highlighting, that's not the law itself. You know, that's not a quote from the legislation. That's their summary of it.
plus Priscilla,
Right,
that
but the one-
it encompasses more than property taxes when you just say taxes.
Yes,
Okay,
because I was thinking for excise too. Excise, water bills, well, water bills are separate, but pretty much any type of tax.
Well, if you look at
But
motion,
I think for the time being, we ought to vote on motion 1, and then if more information comes out, we, can revote. Okay?
Yeah, they,
So does somebody want to make a motion then to approve motion 1 to extend the due date for property tax bills to June 1st, 2020?
so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? You'll have to say aye because you're not all on the screen.
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, that's 5-0. Okay, the second motion is to
Hold on.
extend the due date.
I just want to go back to, do we need a motion to say that we would like letters going to the residents? Because that's what I think we need to do.
I agree.
So if you want to make,
Okay, I'm
no,
going
if
to
you
make,
want to make this motion,
I
go
will.
ahead.
I'm going to make a motion that the town of Sturbridge send a letter notifying all residents who pay property taxes and businesses for that matter of the extension to June 1st, 2020.
Second.
So that's all property owners,
All property owners.
yes, whether they're business or private. Okay, is there a
Correct.
second?
Second.
Discussion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, 5-0. Okay, motion number 2, to extend the due date under General Law, Chapter 59, Section 59, for applications for exemptions from April 1st, 2020 to June 1st, 2020, automatically applying to deferrals under General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Paragraph 18A and 41A, residential exemptions under General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5C, and small commercial exemptions under General Law, Chapter 59, Section 51. Jeff, do you have an explanation on that one?
thank you, Madam Chair. There are a host of exemptions that property taxpayers in Massachusetts can qualify for. Senior and disabled veterans and so forth. What this does is allows for an extension of the time frame for application for those exemptions. And these are exemptions we already provide, but the due date has been pushed back.
Okay, any more questions from the board? Is there a motion then to approve motion number 2?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 And aye, 5-0. Okay, motion number 3, to waive interest and other penalties for late payment of any excise tax, betterment assessment, or any appointment thereof, water rate or annual sewer use or other charges added to a tax for any payment with a due date on or after March 10th, 2020, where payment is made after its respective due date, but before June 30th, 2020. It's also, Jeff wrote, staff would like to hold on this motion until some clarification of if the interest is deferred or not accruing for bills issued from March 10th, 2020 to June 30th, 2020. So we will hold on that one till our next meeting. Priscilla, do you have your hand up? No.
I did. Is that in our hands, or is that guided by the state also?
That's guided by the state. All these are driven by the state, not by a local choice. Actually, the only local choice you have is to choose to use these tools that the state's provided or not, because the extensions are all by local option. But you're only allowed to extend to the point the legislation has provided.
I have a,
Mary?
yeah. I guess for my end, I don't know why we have to hold on it.
I agree.
We can make the motion, and if staff wants clarification on whether it's deferred or, and not accruing, they can seek that. But we're here tonight, and I'm in favor of a motion waiving it. I guess I'm also a little confused. Usually if interest is waived, that's what it means. It's waived.
Right.
Waiving
Right.
something is not deferring it. They're
Right.
two different things. So I don't even think it's not clear unless I'm missing something.
Well, the question is, if I may, Madam Chair,
When interest is waived, it's done away with. That's
Right.
different than deferring interest, which is not as helpful.
well, the question is, after June 30th, if you have not made the payment by June 30th, do you then, are you then responsible for interest back to the original due date? That's what the Finance Department is wanting to find out before this is adopted.
I personally would say no, primarily because people are going to be hurting for a long time. And if they have to pay something July 15th, they shouldn't be paying interest and charges and everything else. I think that we got to do something to help out people, not add on interest.
Well, we can only do what the state allows us to do. And I agree with you that we should provide relief to the greatest extent possible. I'm only putting the tools in front of you that the state has provided us.
Right,
Well,
but I
what
guess,
else-
I don't see I guess I understand that you need clarification, but I don't know why, the language, I don't know why we can't make the motion to waive the interest, and then you can determine, what happens to, those that pay after. I guess I don't understand why we need to delay the motion itself.
I think it's fine if you want to move forward. We'll figure it out as we go.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to waive interest and other penalties for late payment of any excise, tax, betterment assessment, or any apportionment thereof, water rate or annual sewer use or other charge added to a tax for any payments with the due date on or after March 10th, 2020, where payment is made after its respective due date, but before June 30th, 2020.
I'll second it, Mary, but I hope that we can revisit this later and help people out more at a later date.
I totally agree, but this is the language that the
Right.
that's in the legislation now. I don't want to.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye, 5-0. Okay, and then Jeff writes, the water and sewer bills will be mailed the first week of May and will be due 30 days thereafter.
So the Finance Department,
Questions on that?
yeah, the Finance Department will.
Well, according to that, what we just said, they're due 30 days after, but if they pay it by June 30th, they're not going to be penalized, correct?
Those are two separate things. The motion 3 has to do with a water or sewer bill that has been applied to the property tax bill for non-payment. These are our regular quarterly utility bills that we're talking about now. That is not what's in 3.
When is the water bill usually due?
First week of May. So we're moving it back a month.
Is that by law again?
No, it's by our practice. We mail out quarterly bills. The meters were read last week, and the Finance Department is proposing to delay the mailing of those by a month.
Okay, so if that's on if it's up to us, can we make the payment due by June 30th? Jeff?
You can. I don't know what that does to
I
us.
mean, we're not giving any relief here.
This is Barbara. Can you hear me?
Yes, Barbara.
Yes, Barbara.
Hi. Yeah, based on the last vote that you took to extend the due date with no interest or penalty to June 30th, the same thing will happen on those water and sewer bills.
Good,
Okay.
thank you. That's good. Thank you,
welcome.
Barbara.
Sure.
Okay, is that it on vote? Yeah, we know we already voted. Jeff, is there anything else on the bill?
No?
Okay, so then we have on your agenda H, approval of contract with the Chatty Brothers Incorporated for the construction of the Fisk Hill water pump station. Are there any questions on that?
I move that we
Is there a
award
motion?
the,
Oh, Mike?
I'll move that we award the contract to Riccardi Brothers for the construction of the pump station on Fisk Hill.
Okay, for the price of $693,994.40. Okay, is there a
Correct.
second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? You're all back on the screen now, so
Aye.
5-0. Okay. Next, we have a request from the tree warden to remove a tree at the Joshua Hyde Public Library. It was a request from the library too. It's on the right side. It's become too large for the area, and it's causing damage to the building. Any questions?
Is the tree warden determined it's a dangerous tree?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You got his letter.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, somebody want to make the motion to authorize the removal of the large evergreen tree at the Joshua Hyde Library?
I'll make that motion. Oh, I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5-0. Okay, next is a request from the fire chief to purchase the Aeroclave decontamination system. And he sent along a letter explaining it. They can decontaminate surfaces and buildings, including school buses. There's no special training involved, and active ingredients are not harmful to people. The cost is $30,807. Any questions from the board? Mary?
What have we been doing up until now to decontaminate those same areas?
This would be a very complex process where we would be able to spray an entire surface, like a school bus or inside a building or inside the ambulances. Right now, we're hiring specialized cleaning folks to come and sanitize the ambulances. But with this device, we can clean the inside of the police cars, the holding cells, the buses, buildings. We can just use the sprayer and not have to contract this out. And right now, the only thing we've contracted any specialized cleaning out for has been the sanitation of the ambulances.
Okay, so this would be even better than what we're doing. It will be cleaner. It's an even cleaner alternative than the professionals that are now cleaning out the ambulance. Is that right? This is a big improvement.
Well, compared to what we're doing with the ambulance, this now takes what we do to the ambulances and uses it for all our facilities and all our buildings. It allows us to do it more routinely and frequently. Even after COVID-19 is a past issue, we can now sanitize areas and buildings and vehicles when we want to, or more routinely.
Okay. And we're trained to use the system.
It comes with instructions.
I assume.
That there's no training involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, I think it's a great thing. I just wanted to compare what we're doing now to what we're going to have in the future.
Right. It's a much better and faster way to sanitize a building or a vehicle or surface than hiring someone to come in and manually clean these things.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, is there a motion then to authorize the purchase of the Aeroclay decontamination system?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0.
Madam Chair, just one caveat, as I put in the motion, it would be subject to a FinCom reserve fund transfer.
Okay. Is that okay, whoever made the motion?
Yes.
And that's a second, yeah.
I just had a quick question. With all the, everything that's going on, is this something that we're going to have to wait for? Is it ready, available for delivery?
The estimated time is 4 to 8 weeks to get this thing.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay, and then there's a request to accept the donation of 20 safety goggles from G&S Industry. Any questions?
moved.
Or a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Okay, then there is a request from Lynn Gerard requesting the board to postpone the April 13th, 2020 town election.
Yeah, that's a
Any
good
questions?
idea.
Okay. Anything else?
It's not really a
Mary?
question. Is Lynn here? Because on my screen it has Sturbridge Clerk.
Yes, I'm here, Mary.
Oh, okay, I didn't know, Lynn, if you wanted to, okay. I didn't know if you were going to speak on that or you're just listening in.
There's, if you need me to speak upon it, I can.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know who was there. No, I support it. I just wanted to know if you were with us.
Lynn, what are you thinking of for dates? Are you thinking June?
May 5th.
So at this point, Priscilla, we can discuss that at a later date. I think once we reach the curve and start seeing a decline, then we can decide on a date. We do have to do it 20 days prior to the scheduled election. So if, say, your next meeting on May 4th, we wouldn't be able to do it any time before then. Would have to be after May 24th for the next scheduled election.
Wouldn't it behoove us to pick a date in June and then decide if we have to postpone that too because of the virus not being gone yet?
Well, we could do
Would
that
that
at the
help?
next meeting.
We could do that at our 16th. The meeting on the 16th would give us time.
April 16th is your next meeting?
Yes.
So we could see how the virus is going at that point and make a decision, a date at that time.
Sounds good. Okay, does somebody want to make a motion then to postpone the annual town election, a date to
Excuse me,
possibly...
Excuse
Go
me,
ahead.
Madam Chair.
Yep.
Mary,
Yes.
I have a reference that you must vote upon. It's forwarded
Oh, okay,
to
is that the one, executive
pursuant
order?
to Section 1, Chapter 45.
Okay, the recommended action then would be both that pursuant to Section 1 of Chapter 45 of the Acts of 2020, and because of the state of emergency declared by the governor pursuant to Executive Order 591, declaration of a state of emergency to respond to COVID-19, the municipal town election scheduled for April 13, 2020 is hereby postponed. Okay, somebody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Discussion?
I just have one.
Um,
I know we're going to change the date in 2 weeks. That what the consensus was. And I just want to make sure we put it off enough so that we won't have to do it again, number one. And number two, I don't want it so close that some of the more vulnerable populations, I know they can vote by mail. I don't want them to feel like, you know, they have to choose between going out to vote and being worried about being, you know, with a number of people. So I'm just saying my preference in 2 weeks is going to be to put it off later rather than sooner to alleviate that concern.
I agree with Mary Dowling, and that's why I thought June. I agree. Even if I don't believe that on the 16th we're going to see a whole lot of progress in Massachusetts. We haven't peaked yet, and they tell us that the next 2 weeks are critical. And supposing by some good luck that our children can go back to school early May, I still think this needs to be put off, I say at least a month. I agree with her totally. We need to be sure that everybody is well enough to be able to go out and not have to make that choice. I agree.
I agree with both of you on that. And with that being said, right now we are putting out 200 absentee and early voting by mail this week. And we will be doing that up until the election. So people can feel confident in voting by mail. And we will still have in place safety measures when the election does become available in June or whatever the date is decided upon.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Okay, next we have a request to continue the current closures, emergency declaration, and emergency operative directives to at least May 5th, 2020.
I'll make the motion. Are you looking for a motion or a discussion?
Yes, no motion.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we vote to continue the current closures, emergency declaration, and emergency operations directives to at least May 5, 2020.
Second. Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Did Priscilla second that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have a recommendation to accept the donation of $100 to the Sturbridge Fire Department gift fund and send a letter of thanks. The gift comes from two residents who were very appreciative of what the fire department did for them. So do we have a motion to accept the donation?
So moved.
Or second?
Second.
I'll second it.
No.
Okay, Chase. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Chair, there was an additional agenda item.
Which one's that?
It was the, allow the hiring of temporary staff for the fire department if necessary, additional part-timers.
We haven't gotten it.
It went out late Friday.
Yep. The amended one.
Right.
Okay, I didn't print that one out. Do you want to explain that one, Jeff?
Yes, Chief Grasso is asking that in the event he needs to hire temporary staff, part-time staff, that we'll be allowed to do so without selectmen ratification, and that we'll, at the next meeting, come back and get ratification from the selectmen for the temporary hire.
Move.
I would say so moved.
No.
I would make the motion to accept that. These are extenuating times. If any of our EMS people get, God forbid, get the virus and are out, what do we do as a community?
We ask for mutual aid. We've got contracts for that. There's
Not,
mutual
that
aid.
doesn't help. They're all in
Wait a
trouble.
minute. Wait a minute. Priscilla made the motion and explained why she made it. We need a second to the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, now, Mike, we can discuss.
Okay, we have, contracts and, for mutual aid, there's, this has been an issue. I would ask KP Law whether we even have the authority to do that, because there was an issue with whether or not Sturbridge has a strong chief, so I don't know if the chief can make the appointments under our charter.
Well, I would,
We may not. It may be a town meeting vote that allows the chief to do this.
it
So
would,
I'm not sure about the legality of it either.
well, Madam Chair,
Although we don't have a strong fire chief who makes the appointment just
So
on his
I-
own. This is asking, can he do it and then bring it back to us for a retroactive vote?
yeah, I would still,
It
the
is,
town administrator,
And I would vote in favor of it, making sure that any of these gentlemen or ladies know that it is only temporary due to the circumstances, not that they're, full-time or part-time forever.
Madam
Any
Chair,
more discussion?
Madam Chair, may I?
It's about liability.
Madam Chair, may I?
I missed what you said.
I was just going to ask Priscilla if she wants to amend her motion with the caveat that Mary added, that it's,
Temporary.
right, in light of the
Yes.
pandemic.
Can I,
Okay, and
Yes,
I'll second
absolutely.
that modification as well.
can,
Okay, any more discussion?
Mary, can you hear me?
I agree with that, Chair.
Mary?
I don't-
Okay, I think Mike's trying to
I
say
think it will
something.
cause, I think there's some issues here that, are we going to exhaust our mutual aid before we hire anybody?
Nothing with us.
Are we going to make sure that all of our union employees are called in before we hire temporary employees? I don't know.
Madam Chair, may I say something?
Yes, Jeff, go ahead.
The appointment would still be done through the town administrator. The only action that wouldn't be completed prior to taking these individuals on would be the ratification or the concurrence of the appointment by the Board of Selectmen. All avenues for hiring would be exhausted, but this is in the event we need people on hand to work the fire department and EMTs and paramedics. We can employ temporary people to do it. The unions would not be suffering at all. It's one of those things we need to do to make sure we can provide response to the citizens of the town.
Okay, great.
Okay, Priscilla?
I do. I agree with Jeff. These are extenuating times. These are not normal days. And if it's temporary and everybody understands it's temporary, I don't see what the issue is. We're helping our own people, our own citizens, as well as our fire department, that sometimes they're going to need a day off extra, for example, or one of them gets sick or gets hurt on the job. At least we can cover our community. And mutual aid is not going to go away. This doesn't say in light of mutual aid. This is to help the Sturbridge residents and community to make sure that we stay safe. These are not normal days.
Okay, we have a motion, second, we've had
We would-
discussion. All those in favor? Mary,
Oh,
you
I'm
in
sorry.
favor? Or-
Yeah,
All those opposed? 4-1 passes. Okay, next we have old business. Priscilla?
I have a question on, I know today we were supposed to do the administrator's evaluation. When has that, I'm assuming that's been put off to when?
16th. Michael, I still haven't gotten yours, so either I get it by Thursday, or I'm just going to go ahead and do the evaluation without it, okay?
Okay.
The other thing, the other thing I ask is, when are we going to start working on the budget? I'm assuming the 16th. What are we going to do, or how are we going to do it?
Yes?
How would you like to do it? We can set up these meetings and have a department head, and we can put the information on the screen for you all to look at. We can go whichever way, direction, or time you want to go. So I know these meetings aren't as comfortable and as interactive as you're used to, but this is the tool we have to use for now. So if you want to set up a meeting to start reviewing budgets, we can start putting a calendar together for that.
That's fine. That's why I'm asking. It's fine with me, however you want to do it.
Okay?
Yeah, we'll need a meeting just for the budget.
Okay?
Or two.
Yeah, we're still going to, as far as I'm concerned, all of our meetings henceforth should be remote. Mm-hmm. Are we all in agreement on that?
Through the virus you're talking about.
Oh, correct, yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, so would you
Okay.
prefer, Madam Chair, would you prefer a few night meetings? Or do you want to do a day meeting? I don't know what everybody's availability is.
Well, why don't everyone get your availability 4 days and nights to Jeff, so him and Andrea can work out a schedule. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, anything else, Priscilla?
No, that's it.
Okay, Mike, old business?
None.
Mary?
I've got a little bit. I'm hoping that under old business, we can have a standing bullet that provides a COVID-19 update from our town administrator in terms of, update on our first responders. Do they continue to have the PPE they need? I know that they've been meeting and going over various things. So I think it's useful if we have a bullet that always has a COVID-19 update. I would appreciate that. So that's one area. I wanted to say to the rest of the board, our chair already knows because I copied her on the correspondence, but there was some back and forth with respect to whether the positive cases of COVID-19 of people who were tested were going to be posted. And the long and short of it is the Board of Health has made a decision to do that. But in the interim, before I realized that was going to happen, I requested our town administrator to get a legal opinion from KP Law on whether or not we had a right to inquire of our emergency medical team, the police and fire, who are given information with respect to that type of thing. And because they're in our jurisdiction, are we allowed to require them to tell us that information? Nothing that would violate HIPAA. But I'm hoping, Jeff, that you can share that one-page legal opinion with the rest of the board. We're not going to need it now, but what KP Law said is that we could require our emergency management director to share. They're given the actual addresses, which we would not be able to be privy to because of HIPAA. But what they could have been compelled to share with us is the number of locations where there are COVID-19 positive cases, with the understanding that there could be more than one case at that location. That's somewhat moot now because the Board of Health also agrees that in the interest of transparency, they're just going to post the amount of positive cases. But I just want the rest of the board to have that knowledge that was sent to Mary and I. So, Jeff, if you can just share that with the rest of the board, that would be great.
Thank you.
Okay. And also, Jeff, I know you've been meeting. We had a brief conversation with our first responders. Well, first, my first question is, are they totally still 100% fine with PPE for themselves over the next month?
I don't know about the next month, but they have an adequate supply today. Depends upon if their use rate, or what's called the burn rate of the PPE, increases dramatically. But they have enough and an adequate supply now. They have orders into the state and other vendors for additional PPE, but I'm not aware of a shortage or an emergency situation for necessary PPE now.
Okay, great. If we did need it, I'm sorry, I didn't totally follow. What would be the delay in getting it? In other words, if we had to order more, how long would we wait to get that equipment?
It depends on the source. More and more PPE is becoming available in the marketplace because more and more people are producing it. So as vendors come online, the availability there's a shortage still today to get it, but as more vendors come online, we should be able to get it in the future. And we've also put in orders to our regular vendors and the state for additional PPE. So we've put in orders just to make sure we're in the queue to get materials. We just have to wait.
Okay, so we have actually ordered more.
Of course. Yep.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to check. And I know that you indicated that I was hoping for an update for the board that you're looking into possibly housing our first responders in the area in the event that they did need to go into quarantine because of exposure. And I just wondered what are you doing in terms of that? The chair of the Board of Health actually shared that information, and I thought it would be useful for the rest of the selectmen to know what's going on in that area.
As I said in my report at the beginning, the chiefs and I had a conversation about if we had a first responder who came into contact or had a potential contact, that we wouldn't want to send them home. So we would contract with a local hotelier where they could go and be isolated away from their family, but they would be checked on daily. They could order food. They could, access the internet and all those things and isolate away from their family, but in an area that we could monitor them and they could be cared for. We're still working out the details on that. We have a location that has external cabins where they're not mixing with the regular hotel population or the staff. And we're looking at rates and the number of rooms. Now, I know there's some conversation about doing it regionally. Right now, we're only worried about our own first responders. If this evolves regionally, that's something for another day, but right now we're just looking for Sturbridge first responders to have this opportunity.
Okay, and that would be public information in the event that a hotel is identified, correct?
Yes, we're working with the Comfort Inn because they have those external units.
Okay, because I just think the public would need to know that. All right, and then my last COVID-19 old business is, I know Governor Baker came out with his order closing all lodgings and hotels, with the exception of those who are directly involved in the COVID-19 effort, and also for those, I guess, as of March 31st that had existing stays, but they would not be allowed to further extend it. I think we were all sent a copy of this, but if we weren't, I think it's very useful for the board to have, because this is going to directly impact the town of Sturbridge in ways that it will not impact other towns, given the amount, of hotels we have, and the fact that we are, we have major access to highways, and I have concern for residents of other states who are in hotspots to try to, come into Sturbridge. I mean, I hope that they're healthy as well, but I think every state is looking out for themselves at this point. I know Rhode Island stopping all out-of-state license plates and telling them they have to quarantine, and Governor Baker's asked to do the same. So what I'm leading up to is, will our police work with the Board of Health to do drive-bys at various hotels and ensure that the owners of these hotels are honoring this order by Governor Baker. I have concern of transients coming in from other states and trying to stay in Sturbridge to get away from the hot spots. I know New York City is really hurting right now, and a lot of the residents there are going to upstate New York, and that caused a lot of concern in those rural communities. And if they're not going upstate or to Long Island, New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York are going to come this way, westward. So I want to know, will our police kind of look in the parking lots and make sure that, in fact, people aren't staying there in violation of Governor Baker's order?
I would have to visit with Chief Ford about his intentions on that matter and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Mary, some of the hotels will close as well.
Yeah, that's
Most
the
likely.
idea.
Some of them will close, totally close down.
Right. But I did drive around, and they could have had existing stays, and I'm not saying there was any violation a week ago, but we had several, New York, New Jersey license plates in some of our hotels. So I just want to make sure that, we have some enforcement of that order by Governor Baker, because our town will be impacted in ways that other towns won't be.
Mary, can I just add something?
Go ahead, Kate.
Linda Kokalis, the head of the Board of Health, just texted me that the Board of Health is doing that now. They're going around to the hotels and doing that. So.
Yeah, no, I know. She told me as well. But in the event that they need help, I would hope that our police would work with them and help them if they need it. That's what I'm trying to.
Okay. Mary, I just want to let you know that our public safety people, our health people, our town administrator, they know what should be done, and they're doing what they should do. And there are procedures for everything. Maybe it's not up to our police to go to the hotels. Maybe, the state police or something. But I'm sure there are protocols that are there, and they're being followed. I certainly appreciate all your concerns, but I think we need to also rely on the good people we do have.
Can I say something? I totally agree with you, but that's why it will be good under old business to have a COVID-19 update, so that we know that the protocols are being followed. Because right now, if we're not given an update, we don't know, and our residents don't know. So I agree.
And there's no problem with that. We can put it.
All
we
right.
can automatically. Andrea's listening, so she got that down.
All right.
Hey,
Okay.
Chase, old business.
I have no old, thank you.
I have no old. New, Priscilla.
No new.
Mike.
No.
Mary.
No.
Chase.
No new.
I have no new correspondence. Mike.
Yeah, let me get that up here. I think we got a letter March 12th from Mass DOT on that's on the Route 20 from Route 84 to Route 49. The essence of the letter from Barry Lorian was that any work that was proposed back in 2017 for that stretch of road between Route 49 and 84 has been completed due to a district-wide resurfacing program a few years back. So that project has been deleted. I do know that we've got a significant crash location in that corridor. So at some point, we may want to talk to Mass DOT about seeing what can be done to reduce the number of crashes in that segment of roadway.
Okay, and that's it. Correspondence.
That's the only correspondence that we had was from Mass DOT, dated March 12th.
Okay, approval of minutes. The minutes of March 16th. Any
Andrea?
addition?
Go ahead, Mary.
Priscilla?
I just have one correction, Andrea, on the one on the 16th. Hang on a second. Yep. Under public service announcements,
Mhm.
the fourth line, residences, I think it should be residence. TS. That's it. See it?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Andrea, I wasn't here, but on the first page, the public service announcement, third line up, over to the right, the first word in that sentence should be they instead of the.
The third line from the bottom.
Yes. Third line up, fourth word in.
Oh,
You have
they will be.
They. Yes. Okay, does anybody else have any corrections or additions? Okay, a motion then to approve as amended.
So moved.
For
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Okay, 4 in favor and 1 abstention. I wasn't there. Okay, minutes of March 19th, 2020. Any corrections, additions? Hey, Andrea, on the last page, the motion that's in the middle, okay, the discussion under that, the board discussed, okay. Second sentence begins, Vice Chair Dowling said that these are extraordinary times and employees shouldn't have the discretion. They should be staying home. I don't think she meant discretion.
Oh, discretion.
Discretion.
Okay.
No problem.
I just have one thing.
Mary?
On page 150, on page 153, the last paragraph before the motion, Vice Chair Dowling asked if they were to respond to somebody with flu-like. Andrea, just add or COVID-19 symptoms.
Okay, can you just tell me what, I don't have a packet, so what motion are you just talking about?
Okay, so right before we make a motion to close the town hall, the paragraph before that, we're talking with the Board of Health, with Linda Kokalis, and then I asked, it's the last paragraph, I asked Chief Grasso, Vice Chair Dowling asked if they were to respond to somebody with flu-like symptoms, you put. What is the
Okay.
And I just want to say flu-like or COVID-19 symptoms.
Okay.
All right, otherwise they looked great.
A motion to approve is amended.
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
I can see
I'll
for the
second.
time I was there.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4 in favor, 1 abstention.
I have a quick question. What,
Mary?
everything is coming out really well now. What was the problem before? Did we figure it out? Because everybody's very clear, their voices.
I think there was a computer, I think there was
What did you
Work
do
there.
to correct the problem?
someone had their computer in their phone going in the same room, and we're getting a feedback,
Okay.
so.
All right, so we're all set. Thank you.
Okay,
When is our next meeting? Is it April 21st because of the holiday?
Yeah.
Okay, no citizens forum. Is there a motion then, Priscilla?
To adjourn? Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Stay healthy,
Right.
everybody.
Yeah, you too.
Yes, you too.
Stay safe.
Good
It's
night.
nice seeing everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really nice.